Ryerson and Brooks Falls. We do have a resolution.
And the other one was yours.
And we have another wording of a resolution if we need it, but I'll leave that aside for now. Do we wanna read this in, or do we wanna have the discussion first as to how this came about,
Let's start there.
how it came about? Okay. So the initial,
About 6 years ago.
60 years ago.
the most recent, occurrence was based, I believe, on the Village of Burks Falls sending a resolution to us saying that they were pulling out of ACE as economic development. So it was couched with a condition at the end that said they'd potentially revisit it later, but the bottom line is they expressed an interest in pulling out of ACE and gave their 1 year's notice. So this led to further discussion around immediately, and I won't put words in Wendy being on ACE and Rod, some of the stuff that you fed back, but there was kind of an immediate reaction to this, and then after a bit of time and over Christmas, some further thoughts around where we should go with this next. And have we reached a point with Burks Falls where we are not going to be able to move things forward in the way that Armour would like to see things move forward? So that's where this discussion has come from, in a potential resolution of, okay, what do we do next? We have a library agreement and we have a shared services agreement. Both would also obviously require some kind of notice if we were to pull out of those. But we also need a plan as to where we go next. So this isn't a case of, I don't believe we want this to be a case of tit for tat. They pulled out of ACE, so we're pulling the trigger on something else. This is more about where do we want to see things go as a council here, and what's our next step? If not the shared services agreement, then what? So I think that's kind of the discussion point we're at, and I'll open the floor to comments. Maybe first from ACE, because this is where the most recent one started.
Right. So my thoughts on the resolution Burks Falls for ACE is, before we take a strong and hard position, I would like to know what Burks Falls Council's resolution is based on, because we have no information. We just know that they've passed a resolution to say that they're giving us a year's notice they want out. Is that based on their dissatisfaction with the service they're getting? Is it based on their dissatisfaction with the change that we've made in the positions with Dave coming on as our CAO, and so the job being split between ACE and Armour? Or is the decision based on lack of knowledge from Burks Falls Council, because they are not getting fulsome reports at their council in general, for them to be aware of what ACE is doing? And what do the businesses in Burks Falls, how do they feel about Burks Falls Council deciding to be pulled out of ACE?
So, are you done? I don't want to interrupt you.
That's all I'm gonna say for now.
So, I sat through that meeting that they discussed this. During the open meeting, there was no discussion of pulling out of ACE. It was Chris making false statements, misleading or incomplete information to his council. That was by no means, well, it was frustrating to sit and listen to the questions and the answers that were provided, knowing very well that Chris does know the answers, and he wasn't forthcoming with them, or the way he handled them. He's leading Burks Falls Council with, like I said, I can't pinpoint false, can't say it's false, but he's not forthcoming with all the information. So how they decide, and I mean, this part, I was there, Dorothy was there, they never discussed this in open council. And then the next morning, we heard that they pulled out of ACE. I find it hard that they have this conversation behind closed doors. So part of the conversation, just the part that throws, Chris started the conversation by saying he didn't like supporting ACE because there's outlying municipalities that are riding on the coattails, or I believe is what he used. He doesn't think he doesn't like people slipping on a free ride. That's how the conversation started. Then through the conversation, Ashley commented was, I can't see why we need to spend $21,000 on ACE to promote us in Almaguin. We're here, we're in the middle of it. So now Chris doesn't want to support people riding coattails, but Ashley's jumping on board. It was hard to sit there and listen to the information that was given. I heard John Wilson try to ask questions, and he was pretty much stifled with an answer that didn't answer a damn thing. It was just an answer that seemed to end the conversation. It's detrimental.
It would appear that Burkes Falls Council, as a council, made the decision without fulsome information.
So I saw you the very next morning, and that's why I said you needed to do damage control. Council is making decisions on information that they don't have a clue about. They're informed, misinformed, and the amount of money that the businesses have received through ACE is phenomenal. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go around and ask the businesses, you need to know what Burkes Falls is doing. Like, do you support this? It was better thought not to, but Dave told me, he said, almost every door in Burkes Falls has benefited from ACE. We know the Loft House has gotten millions of dollars through ACE with their help. I mean, to think that it was not beneficial in the least was mind-boggling, and the work that's been going on for 10 years, and this is right in the middle of it all. It's going to be a ripple effect with the work that you've been doing to get everybody on board.
So I was, like Rod said at the meeting, it was asked of, I guess the mayor, Chris, is the person that sits on ACE. He was asked by John Wilson to go back, get all of the information that were just posed that everybody had asked, and report back in January. He was also asked that Dave be present at the next Burkes Falls meeting to be able to speak to the questions. At one point, I had offered that perhaps I had some of the information they were seeking, and Chris pointed and said no. Ashley said for $21,000 they were given 2 signs. Ryan Baptiste said for $20,000 we can get our new dog park. Ryan Googled and said it'll be 3 years before the new person could be educated. Only to find out the person that is supposed to be moving into Dave's position simply needs to write an exam. So this is information that had they returned to ACE and asked for, it would have been cleared up. There was a lot of concern about the fact that Dave wasn't present at the meeting. John Wilson, I think, suggested that he hadn't been invited, but they were upset that he didn't just come. He should have just known that they were going to have questions for him.
Well, he knows he can't speak.
But he should have been there. It was requested. But they were upset that he wasn't there representing what ACE had to offer. I think, again, John Wilson asked that Dave give a presentation at the next meeting. It was agreed, Dave will. So 2 things. Rod was going to, pardon me, a different mayor. Chris was going to go back to ACE, get the information requested, as well as request that Dave be present to answer any questions they had. Next morning, actually we're out. We've pulled out of ACE. I'm not sure when it was voted on. I'm not sure when it was discussed. It was certainly not discussed in open council. A lot of requests were made. A lot of questions were asked, and the answers were very simple. Like, had I known that an exam needed to be written, I don't know how, the preparation for the exam or whatnot, but we're not taking a brand new body. The concern was that we're going to be paying Dave's salary. There was also questions about his integrity. John Wilson spoke to his integrity because it felt as though Dave was going to be ripping off both. You can't work full-time in two places. It was never part of the plan. But again, all of these questions could have been answered if they were a partner willing to work with their partner ACE, if they were a partner willing to work with Armour, if they were a partner willing to work with anybody. They had already made up their mind, they voted, and were supposed to be bringing it back, but instead went into closed, decided to leave without actually seeking the information they needed to make an informed decision about what they should have been part of.
That's the hard part, is the consequences of what they've done. And that's only part one of the conversation. I'm tired of Chris or Burks Falls not being accountable for what they're doing. Like, I'm just curious, so Burks Falls meets next Tuesday. Has there been an invitation put forward to Dave or Ace? I mean, you would think if they would do you think they would send a letter out and say, hey, we'd like you at the next meeting? It has to be in on the agenda by noon on Thursday.
Dave and I have had a conversation about, when I heard about the resolution that was passed, we had a conversation about getting in front of Burks Falls Council with information for all of council to be aware of. So that's in the works.
Yep.
Whether it'll be the January meeting, ACE board needs to be aware, and that will happen at the meeting on the 23rd, or next Thursday. Yeah. So next Thursday, the ACE board will be aware that Burks Falls has passed this resolution, and I'm sure it will be discussed at the ACE board, but we will get a plan in place to get in front of Burks Falls and give them information for them to consider in case they want to rescind that resolution or move forward, or at least find out the basis of why they've decided they want to take this approach.
So I just quickly, 4%, if they increase their rent by 4% for the hospital, they wouldn't be asking us for money. If they were willing to work with people, we wouldn't be in this position yet again. If they were willing to work with ACE and have open communication, we wouldn't be in this position. If they were willing, look at the library build. It's Burks Falls' property, you'll build it where we want it. Well, it's a try. You're absolutely right, it's a try. We're building a building for 3 municipalities, but we're being told what we're gonna do. Everything we do with them. An open meeting, Chris, we can't afford, we need to put off the fire hall for 5 years. You call an emergency meeting. Oh, I didn't say that, that's not what I meant. But it's what you said. So how can we work with you when you're not even sure what you're saying? How can we work with you when you've agreed you're gonna go back and ask for information, and then you just change your mind and leave?
Jared? Thoughts?
Yeah, got a penny? I don't know. That's a tough one. The olden days, things were rectified quite easily. You can't do that anymore. You gotta sit down and you gotta teach. They're young, they're new. They don't have any mentors. And any mentors that they do have, they don't listen to.
And the one person that had any knowledge of how the municipalities work just stepped down because he's frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated, I'm tired of dealing, I'm tired of nothing happening because they won't do it. And we wanna do things, we wanna spend money, and it's always Burks Falls that is killing it. I want things to happen. I think we should do it, or we make things happen.
Again, going back to the library board, or the library build. Sorry, were you done?
I wasn't even started.
I wanna hear what everybody
He
has to
said
say.
everything in his 2 words.
Olden days.
He got the whole penny.
Yeah, I never got a penny yet. I don't know, it's frustrating, very frustrating. I don't know how else you can sum it up, it's just plain frustrating.
And I'm tired of it.
Somebody has to listen sometimes and you gotta put on listening ears. You have to listen. Rome wasn't built in a day, but somebody had to have an idea to build it. And I'll just leave it like that.
I think we look at back to the library. It's the most pressing of my minds or forward. They're demanding, like I said, where the build is going to be, but that's the only contribution they have. We have 500,000 that we've decided we contribute. Ryerson 125, they're like, here, you can have the land, as we say. Build it right here, like we said, it's ours, so you have to listen to us. You have to pay for everything, but we're gonna give you this. Now do as we say.
I'm not sure, I'm confident the library won't happen, because it physically, it financially can happen under those terms. But over the years, it's always been another little thing, another little thing, another little thing. And to sit and listen to Chris make a report to his council, I'm tired of supporting Burke's Falls under terms that they're not honest with themselves. I'm tired of that. The health hub was another conversation that was misdirected, misinformed. And there again, the work that Rod's been trying to do, or what that group is doing. Chris was John asked, they had a written report. John said, this is from September. Where's October? Where's November? Where's December's? Chris's answers was just fluff. He did not want to give it to them. The questions that John or anybody was asking, I knew the answers to. I knew Chris knew the answers to, but he didn't have them. Those answers hadn't been answered yet. Those questions hadn't been answered yet. Well, they had been. He's just got to be honest. He didn't like the outcome. What is happening is a spiral effect is going to be detrimental long term. And as soon as Burke's Falls ratepayers understand the damage what that council is doing, the sooner things will change. But it's going down the drain. I got a text from somebody this morning. It was 8:30 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, telling me that John Wilson had stepped down. Now it made me smile, because I thought, here's a ratepayer in Burke's Falls that I thought didn't give a rat's arse what went on in the municipality, and yet, bang. And they knew that I would like to know, probably go to the meeting, and I find it a little bit hard, because this person likes to know what's going on, but didn't want to go to the meeting themselves, but they know I like to go to those things. So the people are starting to pay attention of what is going on. This pulling out of ACE, when the businesses catch wind of that, I would not want to be on council when that mob shows up.
So, my own frustration, and I'm trying to step back, and I take responsibility from a leadership point of view in terms of the relationship with Chris and how badly that has gone. I've got my share of things to answer to, but I have tried to patch that relationship up. I don't believe it's ever been forgotten. And I also believe that it doesn't matter what Armour does, Burke's Falls is gonna fight it unless it's to their advantage. That's not a partnership to me. So when I start looking at these things, I think we wanna partner, we've already proven we wanna partner with everybody. We're trying to build a health center here in Armour that serves the entire Unbeaven Highlands region. When we look at things, we're looking at through the lens of the entire region, and not just the three, certainly not just Armour, and not just the three in the Tri-Council. We're looking at the whole area. I want to expand the partnerships. I don't want to get rid of them, but I also do not want to work with a partner who's not a good partner. If the marriage is not good and it's not a good fit, it's time to get out of the marriage.
Hallelujah.
And that's, I keep I've had conversations with Wendy, I've had conversations with all council on this, talked to John. I've been back and forth as I try to work through it. I understand the implications of doing this. People get worried, it's change, but what we're trying to do is positive change. And we're trying to vision how things can look in the future. Burks Falls, in their current state, is in the way of us doing that. And so 6 years I've been on council. When it comes to partnerships, what have we done? Certainly nothing with Burks Falls, unless it's been something that we've essentially offered up for free that they're taking advantage of. So we've been patient. We've been doing this for a long time. You guys have been on council a lot longer than I have. You've been dealing with this off and on for years. And you hit a point where, and again, it's not about tit for tat. This is more about, we've had enough. We are a huge part of this partnership. We've already been totally transparent about what our vision is. And as soon as we do that, you're trying to undermine it. That's worse than just being a bad partner. Now we're trying to wreck what it is you're trying to do. And I've got the scars from the health center stuff on that. And it continues, there always seems to be a battle. So I'm at that point, I think, where a message needs to be sent. We also need to have a plan of, okay, what are we doing next? Because I don't want our staff, I don't want people in the community being worried that we're just doing this, we had a bad night at council and we just decided to do this. I want a plan. What are we doing next? Burks Falls, I'm sorry, this is not working out. If we move forward with another plan with 2, 3, 11 other partners, and Burks Falls then says we want to be part of this, great, come back in. We're happy to have you back. In the meantime, I don't think we can continue to work with them.
I think
Well, just a minute. I like what you're saying, but you can relate it to a hockey team and a coach. And sometimes the hockey team gives up on the coach, right? However, you got a manager up there that's managing that hockey team, and he's either gonna decide whether them players are gonna play or whether that coach is gonna coach. We come to a crossroads here now, whereas we've had a pretty good team all the way along, until all of a sudden our coach, supposedly, from another municipality is not coaching very well. Well, the players of the team still wanna be a team. And right now, maybe it's time for that manager to get rid of the coach.
Good for you, Jerry. Good for you.
You know?
That's exactly what's happening.
And it's frustrating being a team when somebody is affecting the performance of the team. And right now, we have a team, we've had a great team here for a long time. So I can see the frustration that's going on. It's never been this bad. I've been sitting in council for a long, long time. I sat here when we hired Wendy. That's not very long ago, right?
2 or 3 years.
But
She was here when I was here 40 years
a
ago.
long time. Was it that long?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
38 actually.
I can't remember, it's been that long. But anyways, it's frustrating, but I know Armour, the way we're set up now, we could probably do everything by ourselves, and I think it's time to do that. And I'll go on record to say that right now.
So we've had this conversation in a slight manner, just to add conversation. When we heard rumor of what they were gonna do with the arena. The same night we heard that, we asked John to get a cost for an outdoor rink. Like, we're not worried what Burks Falls is gonna do. We're gonna work without them. If our ratepayers wanted a place to play hockey, we're gonna give it to them, regardless of what Burks Falls is doing with that thing. So I mean, we come up with a problem. And I mean, I got chastised at the library board. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I said, well, because option A doesn't work. John already has option B on the table. I'm tired of Burks Falls killing options over and over and over. And it's been going on. This just sets off. This just takes the cake. I'd like to see your other, because I agree, I was a little hot when, I proposed the resolution that's on the table. And I don't agree, I mean, I don't like it when I read it. I don't mind doing it in my mind, but I don't like reading it. It doesn't sound good, so I would like to see your other option before you read my option. But I think what has to happen is a reality check. This is Berks Falls are making statements and actions, they're gonna be accountable to their ratepayers. And I'm dying for, I've thought about it for the last month. My resolution gets put on the table. I can answer everybody. I'll answer everybody in Berks Falls that comes to me and asks, what the hell is Berks, or what's the hell is Armour doing? I'll tell them why we did it. Like, the ratepayers in Berks Falls don't know what's going on. They don't care. I don't care that they don't care. I'm tired of going to meetings fruitfully, like just going in circles. I'm confident the library's dead. I'll bring that back up because that's home territory. But I mean, we've been around and around and around, and why does it always end? Berks Falls doesn't want to do it. It's okay, but don't do it. As soon as they heard that we might present a library over there, bang, things changed pretty quick. The tone changed, but they're still not giving any money. They're gonna give you the land. Well, that doesn't build anything.
I think,
I'm frustrated, I'm tired of going to meetings, and I feel sorry for Wendy and everything that ACE has done, or the Health Hub. It's like, my God, the work that you guys do, and this could put, instead of moving forward another year, you're gonna talk about the same shit for a whole year and not be going forward.
Excuse me, can I just, sorry, I only have 2 words. You guys are getting really angry.
this is nothing.
But I've got only 2 words, and I'll explain it if you give me a moment. And I know what your problem is. Chris Hope is a cute kid. Honestly, he is. Actually, he's only 2 years older than my oldest son. He's a sweet kid. But unfortunately, he's stupid. Okay? So, the
Rocco,
problem.
do you need the spelling of her name?
Just give me a moment. Chris, unfortunately, hasn't grown up yet. My son's, the youngest one at 40, is more mature than Chris. So what's happened, quite honestly, if you let me speak, Chris got his nose out of joint from what I heard you say. You pissed him off over something with the health center. So he says, I'm gonna get even with you. Because I do that with most men. I'm gonna get even with you, cause you little shit son of mine, you're gonna pay after 40 years. You're gonna pay. So that's what Chris is doing. Now what's happened is nobody on that council knows what Chris is doing. John Wilson is an amazing man, as you guys are amazing on this council. So is everyone on Berks Falls Council. I know nothing about Ryerson, so I won't speak. Berks Falls Council is amazing. But Chris is, I thought he was wonderful until I have heard this. Little shit. Because you said that word, so I can. Is destroying him because of his anger at you. So, what it needs to happen is Chris needs to get out of this because John Wilson, which is amazing, quit. I don't blame him because he's extremely busy. And I thought, okay, John, I spoke to him today and I said, okay, geez, John, I know you're really busy, and okay, but you better get somebody in there as good as you. But they don't know what's going on. None of the counselors know what's going on here. what you've said, cause I've talked to a few of them. And what you don't know is what's going on there, is they don't know what's going on. Only Chris is destroying it, okay? Now, you talk about, first off, the health center. They're gonna tell you what to pay and what not to pay? I don't think so, because Armour is so much bigger, so okay, you'll do equal, but it's equal. The library, they're gonna tell you where you're gonna put it? I don't think so, but that's Chris. That's not the council, that's Chris. That's fine. How stupid do they think you are? They're gonna tell you where they're gonna put it? Not when you got, they're not gonna tell me. My money goes into there, I'm a taxpayer. You're not gonna tell me where it's going. If I figure it's going on my property and it's better, it'll go there, because I'll probably give it to you for free. Okay, the library, over the library. The arena. Now, you brought up something stupid when you said you'd build an outdoor arena. The stupidest thing Sunridge ever did was use that money for that outdoor arena that has not been used in 4 years. They put all that money into that stupid thing that's sitting there. Now, the arena has not made more money since the new manager's been in there. Amazing. He's renting that ice for $80 an hour on the weekend, $110 through the week. You know what they pay down south? Matthew in Pottageville, they pay like $800 and $900 an hour. So Matthew, my son, my granddaughter, is coming up here to play against North Bay. They paid $800 an hour down there. They're coming up here, told them, go to Burke's Falls. No, I said, Burke's Falls has better ice, Matthew, you know it. And Burke's Falls is cheaper. No, they're going to Sunridge. Well, that's stupid, but you're going there. But still, in Sunridge, even though we're $80, I think they're maybe $125 or something an hour. But we're 80.
Sorry to interrupt,
Okay.
we're gonna have to come back to to our table
Okay.
here, cause
So, sorry,
so
I'm
sorry,
just trying to
I'm
get to
gonna
the,
have to cut you off, cause we do have to finish the conversation.
so can I just make one comment on ACE?
Just one more statement and then we
Okay.
have to.
On ACE. They're correct on ACE. I've been, for 16 days, involved with the mental organization. For 16 days I was there, because of my mini strokes. They're correct. When you say this kid only needs one course, totally wrong. Totally wrong. And there's no way, sorry, that Dave can do 2 jobs at once. Totally wrong. And yes, I agree with Burke's Falls. Yes, that's double dipping, and he can't do the job. The girls here know it. So when they say about ACE, okay, which is your baby, sorry.
Can I correct myself on the ACE piece? Sorry, it's not that it is only one test, it's that she's already done all of the other parts.
Okay, well, what I'm telling you is I know those professionals, and she is nowhere near doing.
I mean,
Okay.
education.
Have to have
So
more enough.
that's right, I've gotta bring this back here
Okay.
because we're having
Okay,
an
no, that's
extremely
fine.
important conversation about what we're gonna do next, so I wanna
Okay.
bring it back to the table.
Okay,
So, as I was thinking about this over the weekend, the other thing that was occurring to me was, I'm kinda looking down the road, I'm looking 20 years down the road. And again, looking at this from an Almaguin point of view, there is no way that each of our individual municipalities can afford what needs to be done, even with the infrastructure that we have to replace that in the next 20 years. And I'll give you, the arenas is a great example. There's 3 arenas, South River, Sunridge, Burke's Falls. There is not a chance that when they are at end of life, which actually, technically, when you go to Hockey Canada and look at their website, they are past end of life. There is no way we can afford to replace 3 arenas. There's not a chance. we have to start thinking about, does that mean we need one central arena, twin pad, somewhere in the middle of the Emmanuel Highlands that serves everybody up here? Has anybody even looked at the demographics? Are as many kids gonna be playing hockey 20 years from now? We haven't done any of this work, and we can't keep pretending that is not in front of us. So whether it's landfill sites, fire department buildings, arenas, all of this stuff has an end of life. And there's been no planning around how we're gonna replace that. We're talking about when the new Zamboni comes into the arena in 12 years. Well, we don't even know, is the arena still gonna be standing in 12 years? Is it gonna be condemned? We don't know. So I think we need a bigger picture view of how this is gonna work. And you can't do it with partners who are, even if all this is about is that one mayor is pissed off at another mayor, if that's the reason that you're not moving forward, there is something seriously wrong.
Yeah.
So this ends there, and I think we need to start at least sending the message that we're done doing this thing, and it's time to move on and look at other partnerships. There's lots of good partners in the O'Megan Highlands who we can also work with. There's lots of different ways we can look at delivering the services. There's no need for people to be concerned that means that it's gonna be a change overnight in what they're doing or their job is or whatever. That's not gonna happen. We need to start planning and what do things look like for the future, because I don't think anybody's done it. In fact, I'm sure they haven't.
Believe it or not, I think you're right, and right now I think we should, communicate with Ryerson a little bit more. And I think they're very willing to partner.
And I mentioned before, if Birch Falls said to us next week, sorry, we wanna work with you guys, let's fix this, awesome, that's great. And let's build on those two partnerships plus more.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's not just keep playing this game where we think we've got a partner and we really don't have a good partner. Cause that's kind of the situation it feels like we're in today, especially when things are being pulled in under.
I don't necessarily like the idea of sending a message. I think that's a little bit aggressive, or I'm not sure. I just feel like sending a message is kind of negative, as opposed to saying, this is what our limits are, we've reached our limit, this is what we're capable of, this is our boundary, this is what we need for our municipality to grow, so this is what we're going to do. It's not about a message to you, it's letting you know, which I guess could be called sending a message, that this is what our municipality is doing, because this is what we need for growth. If you can be part of it, fantastic, please let us know. Otherwise, for us to grow the way we want, this is what we're doing, which means we're not going to be growing with you. We're not going to be working with you any longer. We're going to be working over here so that we can actually attain what we would like to attain.
That's a good way to put it. So we still may have to soften the words that I put in the, it may still be too.
Read mine, then it won't sound bad.
Yeah, we'll read yours first.
I'm joking, we can.
January?
End of February, I think.
End of February? Well, we could shorten that up a bit, maybe.
We could.
And that's what I'm wondering,
I think
because,
that would be better. You got all council, everybody together,
right,
you're open to the public. Hey, cut them.
But I will say.
And it's a meeting only for that.
I will say,
And
we have tried this with Berg, because in August 23, we presented our full transparent, this is what Armour wants to do.
Yeah.
Are you guys with us or not? And it was, again, frankly, it was undermined. It was picked apart, and they looked for reasons to not support it, and I'm not sure. We do have to have this discussion at Tri-Council, and you're right, I do wanna have a conversation with Ryerson, cause I don't wanna forget about Ryerson
No.
here and make it,
No.
just throw them in with the whole thing and say we're wiping you guys out.
We have to be transparent
But,
and
yeah.
communicate with that.
But I think, so the idea of this resolution was to make it clear that this status quo is not gonna work anymore. And we're looking at doing things a bit differently. Again, the wording might still be a bit too harsh, and we can talk about that, but I'll read it and then you guys let me know what you think. Okay, whereas the council of the village of Burkes Falls does not appear to be interested in sharing and supporting services with other municipalities in our region. And whereas the Council of Township of Armour is no longer interested in sharing services with a municipality that does not want to work together for the benefit of its ratepayers and the broader Almaguan community. And whereas the Council of the Township of Armour is interested instead in a broader Almaguan-wide view of shared services for the benefit of its ratepayers and the broader Almaguan community, with or without the support of the Village of Brooks Falls. Now for the Council of the Township of Armour hereby enacts the following. As per Article 4 of the Library Agreement, the Township of Armour is providing a 1-year written notice to the Village of Brooks Falls, Township of Ryerson, and Brooks Falls, Ryerson Union Public Library that they will be withdrawing from the library agreement. That as per Article 3 of the Shared Services Agreement, the Township of Armour is providing written notice to the Village of Brooks Falls and the Township of Ryerson that it will withdraw from the Shared Services Agreement at the end of its present term, which expires on December 31st, 2027. This decision from the Council of Township of Armour may be revisited at minimum 1 month before the written notice comes into force.
Do we need to?
I'll pass.
Okay. But, could we,
So, do we wanna, let's move it and second it and
Yep.
discuss it, so you.
I'll move.
Second it.
I will. I feel like that's very, accusatory. I wonder if we could say something to the effect of our goals do not appear to align,
Yeah, I like
as
that
opposed
word.
to.
That's a nice word.
So I'd like a discussion about what our plan is going forward.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be partway through the building of a new fire hall that's supposedly being shared cost-wise with the 3 municipalities involved now. I'm not convinced that we'll be anywhere near any sort of a build with a library yet, but, I don't wanna see our fire hall get derailed because of this. So what's our plan?
Fire hall will be built.
We already decided to build the fire hall without Brooks Falls at one point.
But this resolution is saying we're pulling
No,
out shared
this
services.
resolution says that you will be out of shared services by December 2027.
Right.
By that time, your fire hall will be built,
Will
and
it?
you will have shared ownership in it.
Then we'll have a brand new shared service,
Service, just for that, instead of all.
whether they're part of that or not. That's their
Yeah, we're
choice.
not pulling out. It's still, the building, I wondered about what you were saying, Wendy, because I thought, this is gonna derail what years of work that we've been trying to accomplish.
Your fire
It's
hall
still
is-
gonna go through.
Well, I think the perception is going to be that we're pulling out of it.
Well, that's exactly.
Out with
what
the
it
old
says.
and in
That's
with the
exactly
new.
what it's saying.
How's that for next?
The fire hall is supposed to be built by
By,
the middle of 2026.
But by this resolution, we are saying we're not gonna be part of that shared service agreement.
Of
for-
that one.
For
Of
fire
that.
service,
Of
for
that.
fire service, period.
No,
We're gonna have to renegotiate an agreement if we're gonna continue this.
so the shared service being all, like the fire hall and the arena, and whereas we would have
Yes.
a new shared service just for the fire hall. And then perhaps not the library, or perhaps not the arena, is that correct?
Do whatever you
Well, that's
want.
what I'm saying, all that's up in the air at this point. We're not speaking to any of that in this resolution.
We're just
Just
getting,
give
we're
it
just
notice.
we're giving them notice
That's all.
that we need to discuss the way we're sharing things.
Then I suggest we word the resolution accordingly,
Well, we're gonna have to change the wording.
Yeah.
and
because that's not
you
what
got
that
all this
resolution
year
says.
to get it straightened out.
No, we wanna,
Because
we have to
give
know,
a year
we have,
for the library.
The notice can be served now, but it can be changed a month before the end of the year.
That's for the 2027, but the library, we have to give them 1 year's notice, correct? So I wonder if those need to be two separate things, the library is one, and then the shared service is a separate one.
Well, the third point is that this decision, which includes the other two, may be revisited at minimum 1 month before the written notice comes
Right.
into force. So in the case of the library, 11 months from now, we could change our mind. In the case of the shared services, November 30th, 2027, we could change our mind.
And
But I
what-
think Wendy's right, is that the wording is still too harsh.
And the other comment I wanna make is a resolution like this, going forward, the public reads it and doesn't understand any of the background of why we've come up with that. And I feel very badly for shared service employees when they get wind of that resolution, because where do they feel they stand? Do they have a job, do they not have a job? There's a lot of ramifications from this resolution. I perfectly understand all the frustrations that we have. as chair of ACE for the last few years, I'm extremely frustrated, knowing how much work's been done and for that. But I don't wanna see this council react to the resolution from Burkes Falls to pull out of ACE with just this. And I know that's not why this resolution is on the table, it's a
It's the final straw.
It's a contributing factor.
Right.
But I think we need to be very careful about the message that we are sending. And why
Put
we're
the word
sending it.
pull out in there?
No, because we have to tell, so Wendy, I agree with you, and I think the only way the public are gonna know what's going on is when they read that resolution and ask questions. Then clarity will happen. Right now, people don't know, most of them don't give a rat's arse. When they wonder what's going on, if that resolution hits the media, we're gonna be,
It will.
we are gonna be, what the heck are you guys doing? I'm more than happy to tell them what we're doing and why we're doing it. And when the ratepayers of Burkes Falls find out why we're doing it, things will change.
You hope.
Well, if it doesn't, we don't care. Armour Township is gonna go down a path and we're gonna continue to grow without asking permission. Is basically what's happening.
John's changing his retirement date to 15th of January.
He's gonna be a consultant.
And I'm totally sensitive to the staff, anytime there's a major change, staff start to worry, and
Absolutely.
that's a big concern of mine as well. However,
How do we handle that?
you have to have a plan for how you're gonna handle that for sure, and you
You
can't,
guys are good.
any kind of change is, a lot of positive things are gonna come out of the change as well, and any good staff are gonna have jobs no matter, there's so much work to be done, that shouldn't be a concern, because there will be work, and the good people will have jobs, that shouldn't be a concern, but we do have to have a plan, what's the next step? If we don't do this as a first step, we can't then go to the next step and start to figure out what it is we wanna do. And if we don't frankly center out Burkes Falls in this, then all the other municipalities are gonna be, like Ryerson's gonna be saying, what the hell do we do? Whereas what we're saying here, no, this was very specific, Burkes Falls has become a problem and we can't deal with, and if things change and they come back into the fold, that's great. If not, we can't continue to keep doing feel like we're on the gerbil board, we just keep doing the same things over and over again and we're not getting anywhere.
Can we say as we failed to have a positive working relationship with the village of Burkes Falls?
Doesn't matter what words you put in here.
No, I don't.
The outcome's gonna be the same.
I just don't wanna say, we can't work with you, you're awful, you know, so.
You just said it already.
Well, but
I have no
spent the whole
problem
evening
saying that.
So not putting it on paper won't change anything.
Yeah, but I didn't say that.
So your feeling is whether we change the wording or not?
It doesn't matter what you put in your resolution, you're giving notice.
Yes,
So-
and we have a legal agreement that we're
We have to do
providing-
that.
We're providing notice for that legal agreement. We need to make sure we completely understand what that resolution means and the effect of it.
There's a point in time where you can't go forward. We've reached that
I
point.
understand that.
And in order to go forward, we have to do that.
I
That's the
am-
unfortunate part. You don't wanna do it? I don't wanna do it, but we have to do it. There's a difference. And we have to do it for all ratepayers, not just ours, Burkes Falls, Ryerson, the community. We have to do it. It's come to that point.
I agree with Wendy, I was concerned with, when I came in and talked to John, I was mind blown. I agree with Wendy over the holidays, I thought, it's detrimental. But I didn't think of it the way Ron just said was, this is step one. I think how we're gonna deal with the next steps is through verbal communication, like the more people that ask me a question, the more answers I'll have to come up with. But if we don't keep, if somebody doesn't ask questions, if we just go with status quo, this community, this area is gonna go, just gonna be stagnant.
Sorry, as a taxpayer, I just wanna say a couple words before I leave. I worked with Rod at the arena. I knew you're a smart man then, and you're amazing. Your council, no, my council, is amazing. I propose what you need to do is Jerry and Wendy and Dorothy are, Rod and I are like, and we fight, so we tend to get in trouble. You guys are smart, and you're smart and you know how to deal with people calmly. I'm not like that. You need to have a meeting with Berks Falls without Chris and without Rod, because there's an issue, only because of that. You guys need to, because Berks Falls Council doesn't know what's happening. They don't, only Chris knows. So I guarantee if you three had a meeting with Berks Falls Council, because they are smart too, and John Wilson is a smart man, without Chris there, all of this will be resolved. That's all I have to say, and you guys have made it. And
So,
I'm gonna go home.
I just wanted, one thing.
But you are like me.
So I wanna make one comment, Gene, so when you made a comment, you said, you pointed to us and said, no, just, you
Yeah.
said, you don't know what Berks Falls is doing, I'm gonna correct you,
No,
you're
no,
wrong.
no,
I
sorry.
go to all their council
I know
meetings.
I said that wrong, I think.
Okay, but I just took it,
No,
I do go to the council
No, no,
meetings, so I
I
like to
meant
hear what they're talking
Berks
about.
Falls doesn't know, sorry, I said it wrong.
Okay,
So,
okay,
I meant it
We're done.
opposite- I meant it opposite. Berks Falls doesn't know what you're doing and what you've gone through and what you're trying to do, because Chris hasn't told them,
that's correct.
okay? So what I'm saying is, if I say it right, these three need to go to Berks Falls Council without Chris and tell them what the hell is going on and what Chris has done because of his illegal to the kid. Because of that, okay? And you guys are me, and you'll, the three of you will make it happen. Because what you've done is amazing. So don't let Chris take it down, because it's gonna work. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Night. And I do pay lots of taxes. Sorry. Good night.
Alright, we have a resolution on the table, moved and seconded. The wording, to John's point, I don't think we could wordsmith this all night, and then we're sending a shot across the bow, and it's gonna cause problems, there's gonna be fallout. Do we wanna take that step now? And I think we do have a tri-council coming up, where obviously this is gonna be a topic of conversation, and I think this sets the stage for that fairly nicely.
Yeah, I think you should maybe give George a heads up.
And I'll talk to George separately, yeah.
But I think you're right. Unless you take a step now, 10 years from now, we're gonna listen to the same things.
I'll probably quit by then.
Yeah.
I've been here forever.
It's only
I
10
would
years,
too.
it's only 10 more years, Jerry. Wendy, you're still thinking.
Yeah, I'm still struggling. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're only one vote.
I know I am.
Yeah, when you're a hockey team, you got 5 players on the ice.
Well-
You don't get along with one guy, he don't touch the puck.
I do prefer us to have consensus on this and a comfort, like I did talk to Wendy before that, I know the one thing we do need to make sure that comes out of this is we have to start planning what's the next step.
Yeah.
If we, even if we don't do this tonight, we've gotta figure out what are we doing next? What partnerships are we trying to form? What are the things we need to focus on? Who do we need to talk to? We do have to have a conversation with Ryerson and make sure they understand that this has nothing to do with them.
I know, I've had conversations a little bit, and I think they would be acceptable to partner up with, carry on.
I think we have to do this. And then hopefully Berks Falls says, it was not our intent to be so,
Disruptive.
or just, inflexible, and, let's work together. But nothing changes if nothing changes, so we need to change something.
And John has said, same statement, how many years in a row? Nothing will change unless you tell them. You gotta tell them up front what you're thinking. And we always come up with an idea. John says you never follow through with it. I'm following through with it.
And with that, I agree with the consensus, but at the same, there's a reason there's 5 of us, and it takes 3 votes for something to pass.
So my question, before you went, so if you've given it some thought, cause I've thought about it, I wouldn't even know what path to go down. How do we address the questions? I know what Wendy said is gonna happen, I know what you said is gonna happen. Have you thought about how we're gonna handle the backwash?
You just take other partners.
Eh?
The backlash
Yeah.
and the backwatch.
Oh, it is.
Well, the thing that always concerns me the most are the things that aren't true.
Do a media release.
And I think we have, we need to get out in front of it and talk about why it is we're doing this. And Rocco's here tonight, he's been listening to the whole conversation. I'm sure I'm gonna hear from Rocco tomorrow. And at the same time, I wanna have selfishly a discussion with our own staff to make sure they understand that we're also looking out for staff. And this isn't just about reacting to something, we're also looking at, so I wanna have that conversation with staff through John and Dave. And make sure that they're as informed as anybody else is, or better informed actually, and that they're part of the solution. Because the next step now is that we actually need our staff, and that's why we rely so heavily on our staff. We need our staff to help us through this next part.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the hard work.
And hopefully they can help us with some of the solutions.
Exactly. And I have no preconceived notion about how this is all gonna look. I just know it's gonna look different than what it does today. And I also feel it's gonna look better than what it looks like today. And more positive, cause I think if we can get some positive momentum, we've got all these great ideas, I feel like everything's right at the edge, ready to go, and we just keep getting stopped. And now we're maybe in a position where we can move things forward in a lot of different directions. And I suspect a lot of great ideas are gonna come from staff in terms of what we do next. Sorry you're gonna miss all this.
Oh, he's gonna hang around.
Well, he'd be a consultant. Oh, yeah.
He's gonna read about it in the paper.
Read about
Yeah,
it in the
deal.
paper.
Exactly.
Much better.
I will.
Hi, guys.
In terms of things that come up, some of the negativity that comes, I will happily take the bullet for whatever conversations we have to have, whether that's with Chris, or whether that's with Denis, or whether it's with the media, or whoever it happens to be. I will happily have those conversations, cause I think we're kind of at that point, and I think council feels we're at that point. And I suspect we do need Wendy's, care in terms of how we carry this out, and that we look to you to be the conscience of that, and kinda help us through the process. So we all kinda have a part in this, if we are gonna try and move this forward.
I think we can all help Wendy, because I know her concerns. And
Well,
I
I
agree
sat
with her
around this-
100%, but I think this step has to be taken in order to have them concerns met.
Well, I've sat around this table for a number of years and strongly supported, ACE and regional development and regional approaches to our problems and our solutions in this area. So I'm really struggling with this. I'm really struggling with saying, I wanna play nice in the sandbox on a regional basis. But right now, we've got one of our member partners that has got a dysfunctional council. And so my solution to that is this. I'm struggling with that. Is there no other solution?
speaking to that analogy, if we have 10 children in a sandbox and one of them is throwing sand, we take that
Yes.
kid out of the sandbox.
And time out.
The problem is that we have, over the last X number of years, discussed the same thing over and over.
Yes, I
and
know
over
we
again.
have.
And that's why I say it's time. I was in that seat and I was argumentative why we needed to walk away from the agreements. I was in Wendy's seat, I'm tired of it. I told John, I said, I'm ready, I'm here. So, I like the idea of you taking the heat. But I think as a council, we need to know what those answers are.
So here, so as you were talking, I was thinking, the simple response to me right now is Armour wants a regional approach. Burks Falls was not fitting into that plan. Step one was we had to remove them so that we can move forward with the regional plan. We can't move forward. We can't assume that the tri-council was a good, we can't assume that the partnership with Burks Falls was a good basis for doing things, the same things regionally. Cause can you imagine trying to do this with another partner?
We got 10 partners in the sandbox and one guy wants out.
Yeah, and
No.
look at where things are working at ACE, and ACE is a proven formula for how you can do things regionally. Things are working at the Health Council, another proven formula for how you can move things through regionally. So we have examples, and at the fire department's another great one. So, and we have been heavily involved in all three of those things, if not leading all three of them. So I think we have a good story to tell, and that story is we are looking at this as a region-wide approach right now. To Dorothy's point, there's a bad kid and misunderstood child who we can't work with right now, and we have to focus our energies on something more positive outside at the region level. So that's kind of the summary of it. We're focused on region-wide solutions.
Nothing needs to change. We're just moving forward.
Right. Yeah.
We're expanding our horizons.
You're gonna use all these statements in my divorce. It's not even.
Do you feel any better when
Well, these are all lovely.
Yeah.
you
You
I know you're already looking at the outcome, I know.
I'm looking at a shared service agreement.
Yeah.
For our library and our landfill and our fire department and our arena.
So,
So I'm not thinking about, that's what I'm thinking about, because this resolution is speaking to those agreements and the fact that we're giving notice that we want out. So what's the effect of that? What do we do if we're partway through that build for the fire hall? If the fire hall is built, then we've gotta come up with an agreement of how we're sharing the cost in that fire hall. There's just a lot of things, unknowns in the air, and that's what I struggle with that resolution. Will we find a solution? Probably, but at what cost to our ratepayers will that solution be?
Let's come up with some ideas. Now, here's an idea for a future. This could be a library, this building. Close, vicinity
Jean
to
offered up her
everybody.
house just a little while ago.
And from there, we could end up with a brand new building on the 42 acres over there. Add it to a whole bunch of more building over there, like we got a future we gotta look forward to, so.
And new shared services,
And
new
a new
partners.
shared service.
that's the
New
key,
partners.
that's the key. So Wendy, we don't agree with this piece of paper. We're giving notice. It's not that we can't come back to the table, but we're not doing it with this piece of paper. That's,
Yeah.
somebody brought that, and I like that idea is we're gonna move forward, but we can't agree with it on this paper, and we're not gonna wait, we're gonna move forward, but when this paper comes in, when this is enacted in the time frame, we'll sit down and discuss where we're at today, versus what we were 3 years ago when we dropped the paper, and what the outlook looks like. It's not that we're walking away, it's just this piece of paper does not work.
The agreement as it stands.
If we had said many years ago, we pull out of the agreement, we'll pull out of the arena, we'll still give them money, but we don't want nothing to do with it's more frustrating to give them money and know you can't talk about it. So, this council had said, we'll pull out of the arena agreement, but we'll still give them money, we're a community, we just don't want to be part of their shit show.
And McMurray, Monteith, they give money to
To the
the
library?
library, we can do the same thing.
Exactly.
It's just,
It's
we
nothing.
don't need an
We-
agreement.
No, and you can do whatever you want. Here's the money, do whatever you want. I don't have to get frustrated because I don't agree with it. The community's gonna still move forward. This piece of paper is history.
It's outlived
And I agree with it, it's gonna take a lot of people aren't gonna understand what that really means.
Would you read that resolution?
Okay. Whereas the council of the village of Burkes Falls does not appear to be interested in sharing and supporting services with other municipalities in our region. And whereas the council of the township of Armour is no longer interested in sharing services with a municipality that does not want to work together for the benefit of its ratepayers and the broader Almaguan community. And whereas the council of the township of Armour is interested in staying a broader Almaguan-wide view of shared services for the benefit of its ratepayers and the broader Almaguan community, with or without the support of the village of Burkes Falls. Now therefore, the council of township of Armour hereby enacts Article 4 of the library agreement, Article 3 of the shared services agreement, which expires on December 31st, 2027, and the decision may be revisited at minimum 1 month before the written notice comes into force.
Remember the old agreements?
She's almost there, she's almost there.
Wendy, how did we get out of the old agreements? The three municipalities came to a conclusion after a shit show was going on, and it was a legal opinion that
Well,
we.
we took 8 years to negotiate the last one.
So that's the real pain here, is if you look back at those 8 years.
I'm surprised she's not rocking.
Okay, we have a mover on the second. All those in favor?
I feel like we need to clap.
That's carried. We don't need a.
All good.
Well, that was fun.
Somebody call Jean. Let her know.
It's okay.
I've been stewing about this for a month.
I knew you had been. I was thinking about you over Christmas.
You wanna get your eyes done, cause you can't drink.
Okay, I believe we're actually done. And just for fun, we